Okay, it's about almost 9:55. We'll get started here in about 5 minutes. So for those of you who are watching this recording tomorrow, you may want to fast forward this about 5 minutes or so. I just realized that it's Mother's Day weekend, so we probably won't have too many viewers here tonight. I came back from the grocery store here close by, and one of the local restaurants, the parking lot was packed. So I'm sure people have, plans with their mothers for this Mother's Day weekend here in the United States, at least anyway. So happy Mother's Day. I wonder how many moms use Linux and or Windows. MC Strap, hello. Thanks for stopping by. How are you? Gecko, good evening. Thank you for stopping by. We'll get started here in about 5 minutes. So once again, it is Mother's Day weekend, so happy Mother's Day to all. Tonight we're taking a look at KDE Neon. I'll give you my personal thoughts, some test results of a full install in a Toshiba satellite laptop from 2008, I think, maybe even before that. So overall, KDE Neon and Kubuntu runs pretty good, at least the latest version, 17.04. Let's see, I guess I can share the screen here. I can watch your guys' comments as we go. Hopefully it won't crash. Let's go ahead and share. And let me know if you guys can see that. You should be seeing the feed right now. Anybody else use KDE or Kubuntu? I actually installed Kubuntu in my backup desktop, which had Ubuntu Unity. Now Ubuntu Unity was fine, but since Canonical is abandoning Unity, it's pretty much abandonware in my opinion. So I'm not sure if I can trust it anymore. So I replaced Ubuntu Unity with Kubuntu 17.04. Gecko, you use GNOME. Well, how do you like it? Now, I tried getting used to GNOME, even with after all the extensions. It just wasn't for me, at least not yet. Liam, hello. Thanks for stopping by. How are you? (9:58). 2 more minutes. You love it. Wow. Gecko, what do you love about it? And did you care, or did you have to install any extra extensions to make it user-friendly? Linux, JRM, hi. GNOME, wow. A lot of GNOME lovers tonight. I guess I'm alone tonight with my KDE. Another GNOME. Oh, man. You guys are killing me tonight. No, I'm just kidding. The best operating system is the one that works, right? Of course. You're not savvy, but love to manipulate it. So you like tweaking it. Okay. GNOME does require some tweaking with KDE Neon and Kubuntu. Well, more KDE Neon. There wasn't so much tweaking, is because Neon is so lightweight. I had to install extra software, and I'll get to that in a moment. So, okay, I think we can get started. Okay, well, welcome back to another TOS Today, or Total OS Today live event here on the Total OS Today Technology channel. And tonight I'm going to give you my thoughts, my final thoughts, my test results on installing KDE Neon in this Toshiba Thrive laptop, which you see here. I should have taken screenshots or pictures of my laptop, but it's a Toshiba Satellite M305 if you want to look it up. And bought it used, and the tablet or the laptop runs great. I think the laptop had originally Vista on it, but I installed a dual boot with KDE Neon. And the one thing I noticed about KDE Neon, it didn't recognize the Windows partition, so I had to go into Windows and create some free space to install KDE Neon. So it's not quite as newbie friendly in terms of the installer, but putting that aside, the installation went quite well. Let me share some screenshots. Gecko says you saw a KDE version the other day that had the looks of Windows 10. Why not? I think KDE Neon shapes up rather nicely with Windows 10 in my opinion. So these are some screenshots. Hope you guys can see this. And a couple of issues. For some reason I had trouble transferring files from two USB sticks. I think I figured it out. I forget what I did, but that was kind of odd. So USB sticks, at least for me, there was an issue with KDE Neon. I had to install, I don't care for the I had to install VLC. I think with Kubuntu you get the Amarok player. It's okay. I prefer VLC, Rhythmbox, Clementine. That's the one. Okay. Of course, with KDE you can change the launcher. Yeah, I do like Opera. It's lightweight, and it has a built-in VPN. It's never crashed on me, and it runs pretty good. Hippie Crusher, sorry. Hello, welcome aboard. Okay, so where were we here? These are, okay, screenshots of my KDE Neon. Let's move along. Again, you can change the launcher from application launcher, application menu. Very easy for beginners, and really this KDE Neon and Kubuntu shapes up rather nicely with Windows 10, at least in terms of the looks and the feel and the launcher or launchers. You're welcome, Linux JRM. Of course, the Dolphin File Manager, terrific. One of the best, and a lot of Linux users and Windows users think that the Dolphin File Manager is probably the best when it comes to Linux. Maybe so. Of course, KDE, Kubuntu famous for its plasmoids, widgets. You used Opera as the browser. They changed design recently in 45, which is terrible. Oh, really, Liam? It works for me. Yeah. What don't you like about it? The Discover Package Manager in KDE, it's probably more suited for beginners. I didn't really care for it myself after playing with it. I installed Muon, the package manager for KDE, and I also installed Synaptic. For some reason, this is what I didn't like in KDE, there is no volume meter when you hit the volume icon on the panel, on the drop-down panel, and if you're adjusting volume control, it's not very user-friendly, so I had to install the PAV control, pulse audio control, which allows me to fine-tune the incoming volume or the level of the microphone. I'm surprised it wasn't built in by default in KDE unless I'm missing something. I'm not sure. What I did notice in Firefox and Neon is the search bar here in the middle does not work. It's kind of odd, but at least for me it did not work. When I installed Kubuntu, it worked fine. in my Toshiba laptop with everything running, or not everything running, but quite a few things running, about 500 megabytes of RAM usage. Not bad at all. Of course, some widgets here. You can plug as many widgets on the desktop as you want. I will say this about KDE, it's probably not designed that much for a laptop with a small screen. If you're going to clutter your desktop with a lot of widgets, it's going to take up a lot of space rather quickly. So I would keep your laptop screen clean if you're going to use something like this, but this is probably better suited for a desktop. I was able to catch a couple screenshots with this. This is not my screen going bad, but this here, if you go into desktop setting effects, you can there's a setting there, and you can toggle that on, and when you close a window, it breaks into little pieces. I think I have another screenshot here somewhere. Okay, so this is Pulse Audio Control. I had to install this. Isn't this cool? I was able to time it, so when I closed the window, I hit the screenshot print screen button and it caught this. I think it looks kind of cool. Like someone's throwing papers at me or something. And if you go into desktop effects, that function is called fall apart. Closed windows fall into pieces. Once again, KDE, highly customizable. You could probably spend all day playing with this if you wanted to. Yeah. You hate the sidebar, not for 45, and it scales terribly on an HDPI display. Okay. Alright, I don't have any issues so far. But hey, there's many choices for browsers out there. Some more settings here in the panel bar. And I think that was the last of the screenshots. So let me go ahead and get out of this. So running this inside a virtual machine, it runs great. Lightweight. I love the fact that built in you can search, just type in MON, and I believe this is called KRunner app. Go to the system monitor. And again, inside a virtual machine, about 537 megabytes of RAM. Very smooth. I remember in the past KDE was very heavy, and if you did not have at least 3 to 4 gigs of RAM, it wouldn't run very smooth. And right now you can probably run this, but you can probably run it with a gig. I recommend 2 gigs, but this is super smooth and lightweight compared to Ubuntu GNOME, and that's why I do not use Ubuntu GNOME. Changing the application launcher or the launcher is great. Something for beginners. The application dashboard, I think, looks cool. Again, it's better suited for a larger screen, but at least you have options. I prefer the menu. I guess this is like a throwback to Windows XP or maybe Windows 7, you know, compared to Windows. Yeah, I think this makes it a little bit easier for beginners. It's just my opinion. Of course, the widgets is missing a couple. I didn't see anything for RSS feed. But in Kubuntu, I believe there's something called aggregator or AK grader or something like that. You can customize your feeds, but right now that's about the only thing I saw missing with the default widgets. Otherwise, you have lots of choices here. So let's go ahead and drag that over if it'll work. That's not bad. So if you hover over the widgets, it'll give you some information. C128, welcome aboard. Stock KDE will use less RAM than Mate will. It's all of the widgets, effects, K, one of the things that bog it down. Yeah. So stock KDE is less than Mate? Really? Wow. And I have Linux Bit Mate installed in a ThinkPad with just 2 gigs of RAM, and it runs pretty good. I think Linux Bit Mate at idle, and that ThinkPad, I think it's 380 megabytes of RAM, which is pretty good. But yeah, see, if you start, effects, widgets, it's definitely, but, I experimented turning on or putting a bunch of widgets, in my Toshiba laptop and turning on the effects. It's still pretty good, midway between XFC and Mate. Okay, cool. Yeah, the Dolphin Manager, I can certainly understand why a lot of people like this. It really is very functionable. Now, the one thing I noticed when I installed some wallpapers, in GNOME or Mate or most Linux, I would imagine you can just right-click on a picture and set it as wallpaper. I don't think there's an option for that in KDE unless I missed something. Yeah, KDE now 5.9, so much improved over the previous versions. Let's go to Discover Software Center. Let's go ahead and let's do this. Get out of that. Remove it. I think this is okay for beginners, but the more I played with this for myself, I didn't like it. I'm not sure why. I prefer the Synaptic Package Manager or Muon Package Manager. Turn on all that stuff on main XFC will bloat it just as much on Kubuntu's configuration. Kubuntu is one of the worst from a resource standpoint. I think that has changed a little bit with the latest one. I installed Kubuntu 17.04 in my other desktop, which had Unity, and Kubuntu was much more responsive. See, yeah, much improved in terms of resource. Now, I didn't plaster widgets all over the screen either. But so far, in my short tests late last night, very impressed with Kubuntu, and I think QuidsUp. Also liked it a lot, much improved. I would have to agree. Mark, hello, welcome aboard. Where was I here? So talking about the Discover Package Manager. I don't like it. It's I mean, it's okay for beginners, I suppose. Let's see. I prefer Synaptic. Yeah, see, you need to check out, 16.04 was slow, but 17.04, I'm amazed, and I don't impress very easy these days, but 17.04 with Kubuntu, it seems like it runs, well, I won't say twice as fast, but it seems like it uses half the RAM usage as before. And I tested it, like I said, in 2 machines. I tested it in 2 dual-core machines in my Toshiba laptop and my 6-year-old Lenovo desktop with just 4 gigs of RAM, and it zips. It flies compared to compared to when I had Ubuntu Unity installed. So you may want to check out the latest Kubuntu. Much improved. Yeah, I don't really care for alphas and betas that much, or the interim releases, but 17.04c is, well, I liked it so much I installed it. That's how impressive it is. I know it's only supported for 9 months. Can I recommend it for beginners as long as they know that it's only supported for 9 months? Probably not. But which version? This is the latest one off the website. This might be. I don't think this is the LTS version, but it's the latest one. Let me go to the website real quick here. There are different versions. If it'll start. If not, we'll just go into Windows. So the Synaptic Package Manager is my choice. So, okay. So if you're going to try this, the LTS version, this is not going to give you the latest desktop, the improved desktop in my opinion. So you're going to have to, I believe, either go with the user edition, this one here, or the developers, the unstable Git or the stable Git. Yeah, I did not mess well with the LTS since it's not the latest version of Plasma. It's running Wayland, Mark. How is Wayland? Because that's still in development. Yeah. So KDE Neon is a rapidly updated software repository. Is this the KDE distro? Nope. Okay. KDE believes it's important to work with many distributions, as each brings unique value and expertise for their respective users. Okay. Let's see, will there be a version using non-LTS Ubuntu releases? No. Wayland is awesome. Cool. Is it a distro? Not quite. It's a package archive with the latest KDE software on top of a stable base. Okay. Is it a rolling distro? Not quite. Let's see. I guess the main difference here is KDE Neon will provide users with more up-to-date packages of Qt and cutting-edge KDE software. And some other questions and answers here. It is 64-bit only, yeah. So overall, in my test results with Kubuntu on my desktop and KDE Neon on my laptop, both ran pretty good. Now KDE Neon by default is very light. Now when I say light, not so much resources, but in terms of installed software. As you can see, there's not much here. I installed, for example, Kazam, Kdenlive, Quadlib, and VLC and stuff like that. So a new user to this would have to do a little bit more digging around to install specific software that he or she would need. It wouldn't be that difficult, but probably for an absolute beginner, maybe Kubuntu might be the better choice since it has considerably more software installed by default. But I really like this. So I think this, I know Ubuntu's going the way of GNOME, but I think for beginners, I think KDE would have been a better choice because it tends to mimic Windows a little bit better, in fact a lot better than GNOME in my opinion. But Ubuntu chose to go with GNOME, and we'll see what happens. But I tried to like GNOME, but I could not I just got tired of installing extensions, and sometimes they break, and the tweaking. And I think Ubuntu GNOME at idle needs about 1.5 gigs, or at least a gig, and it's just not fast as well as KDE. Neon, or the latest Kubuntu. Of course, you have other choices out there. Let's see, Lubuntu, Xubuntu, and the list goes on and on. Linux Lite. But for beginners, between GNOME and this, I would definitely go with this in my opinion, yeah. And like I said, even in a virtual box, it's fairly responsive. It's not bad at all. So let's go back to the application menu. I still like this the best, so. And those are my thoughts on my test results for KDE Neon. The only issue with the install, it's not quite an automatic user-friendly installer. I had to create some, in fact, let's go here, disk management. I had to create some free space in my Toshiba laptop to install KDE. And a beginner wanting to do that may be a little bit confused. It's not that difficult. But if there are any beginners who will watch this later on, don't delete anything that says NTFS, EFI, recovery. Don't delete those at all, or don't mess with those partitions whatsoever. Just a quick tip if we have any Linux newbies watching this. But the installer could have been a little bit more user-friendly. With other distros like Linux Mint, Ubuntu, it recognizes your Windows partition, your Windows OS, and it automatically installs Linux beside it. And it's worked for me. Well, it's worked for me 100%, I would say, or close to it. I haven't had any issues. That being said, if someone watches this later on, tomorrow, whenever, always back up and back up again if you're going to install something on a Windows machine. Unless you have a spare machine, then I suppose it doesn't matter. But I recommend 2 external hard drives. In case one hard drive, for some reason, crashes on you, you have a backup. So if you're going to do this or install any Linux operating system alongside Windows, back up your OS, back up, and you should back up always your files, folders, pictures, family photos, stuff like that. Back them up twice. Trust me, you will not be sorry whether you use Mac, Windows, or Linux. So those are my thoughts on KDE Neon and Kubuntu 17.04, both very impressive releases. And even though Kubuntu is only supported for 9 months, I expect better things from the Kubuntu team. This is by far the lightest KDE I have ever tested, period, in both KDE Neon and or Kubuntu. Recommended, at least to give it a shot, to give it a try. Much more user-friendly than GNOME, of course, highly customizable from the beginning. And the nice thing about this, you can customize this to your heart's content, or just use the default desktop. There's nothing wrong with this. Only exception is you may want to get some more wallpapers. I'm not sure why they only included 1. Really, just 1? Oh, I guess I'm nitpicking. Let's see. Let's try this one, the Aurora wallpaper. See what that looks like. Wow, that actually looks pretty good. Huh. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Very nice. Pretty. Anyway, any final thoughts before I wrap this up? Just a short one tonight, so I just want to give my final thoughts on my tests of KDE Neon. I'm thinking about doing a weekly or semi-weekly podcast called Linux Newbies, designed for Windows users or Windows newbies, Linux newbies. Sort of like a forum / podcast where maybe Windows users didn't feel too welcomed in other forums, were scared to ask questions. It's just a thought. That's the one you use, Mark? Okay, cool. Yeah. I'm sure there are lots of choices excuse me, for wallpapers. It's just odd it only had, very odd it just had the one, but. Sunny Rocks. Sounds like a quarterback. Hey, it's Sunny Rocks. Oh, that's a nice one too. Cool. Okay. Another minute, guys, and I'll call it a night. So, and any final thoughts on KDE or GNOME or KDE versus GNOME and what's going on with Ubuntu? A lot of happening in the news this week. I guess iTunes is now officially in the Windows App Store, and so is Ubuntu. It sounds weird, doesn't it? Yeah, Mark, have a good evening. I'm going to shut this down and call it a night here. So, don't know when the next live event will be, but I'll think of something. So, I just wanted to get this out tonight and give everybody my thoughts as a Windows user on KDE, Neon, and Kubuntu. I give it 2 thumbs up. At least give it a shot. I think for new users, this is the way to go. Excuse me. This is the way to go besides Ubuntu GNOME. SUSE, Fedora, and Ubuntu on the Windows Store. I don't know what's going on, Gecko. Yeah, it seems odd. Let me see something real quick here since we're talking about it. Ubuntu, don't call it abandonware, but it is abandonware, or close to it anyway. Yeah, Windows Store to get iTunes, Fedora. Strange marriage, isn't it? So this was during the Microsoft's Build conference. Yep, Ubuntu, SUSE, Fedora. Saw it on the Google Plus account. Okay. We'll be able to install and run in a virtualized environment. Interesting. Is this started already or it's coming? Okay. There's no tangible timeline. Okay. Well, how they will look when they go live. Of course, you can always download iTunes for Windows anyway. The arrival of Linux distributions is possible because Microsoft decided to bring the Bash shell to Windows, which resulted in Windows subsystem for Linux. Yeah. They had to put them in the store for those people using the ES releases. 10, no other way for them to install. Okay. Ubuntu is already available in the Windows Store, while SUSE, Linux, and Fedora will bring their distributions to the Windows subsystem for Linux and Windows 10. Two apps will come to the Windows Store apps eventually. Microsoft also announced that Spotify will be available on a Windows Store. I thought Spotify was already there. I don't know. I use it on my phone mainly. But yeah, that is some odd news for sure. Okay. Alright guys, I will call it a night. Have a good weekend. Once again, to all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. I believe it's this Sunday, so hope everyone does well. And I will catch you guys on the next live event. So take care, be safe. As always, enjoy your technology, and please don't text and drive. I'll catch you guys later. Thanks.